It's a great way, inexpensively, to make a wreath and show your pride. So whether it be your country, whether it be your football or hockey team, even though Toronto and Montreal, yay, are in the playoffs. My dad's a fan of Montreal. I'm not a fan of either, but that's okay. But I don't know. Is this the year for the Maple Leafs? If you're Canadian and watching me, give me a thumbs up if you're a Leaf fan. Anyways, so I am, like I said, good morning everybody. Well, actually it's noon here. I'm having a very lazy day. So, like I said, I am upping, I hope is anybody watching from YouTube? Am I on YouTube? I'm supposed to be streaming on YouTube. We're going to just up our sign a bit, because why not? Oh well, I can't tell. It's not a biggie. Okay, so what I'm using is some Mod Podge, okay? This is just a gloss Mod Podge. A little craft brush I got from the dollar store. And I'm using, which I need to get some more of because we were really low now. I've had this diamond dust forever, so it does last a long time. So I'm using some of this dollar dust, and I get this at, oh, we are here on YouTube. Thanks, Peggy. I get this diamond dust from Amazon. I do believe under Laurie Tools, there's a link. This is actually real glass, so you got to be careful with it. It's real shards of glass, okay? But it makes the sparkle. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this because I did half of the white here. I did sparkly. But you can really, I can see it here. I can really see it with the light hitting. So if you want to up your sign game a little bit, all you have to do is exactly what I'm doing. Take a little brush and some Mod Podge. I just put it in the lid of the Mod Podge. And so I already did half, so I'm going to do the other half. And you're just going to brush on wherever you want some glitter or whatever you want to do. Brush it on with some Mod Podge, okay? Now, it really doesn't matter if you use matte or a glossy Mod Podge. We do have Mod Podge, like a little bottle. If you don't use a lot of it, you won't want to buy a huge thing of it. So we do have these small bottles on our website because I do use Mod Podge from time to time. And you're just going to take your little craft paintbrush. This is an angled one, so it's just in a little packet that I got from the dollar store. And you brush the Mod Podge anywhere you want your glitter. Okay, so I'm just doing it on the white of the sign. And it'll give it a little bit of a pop when the sun hits it. And it looks way more expensive, right? So if you're selling wreaths and stuff, and you can up your sign game a little bit. Now this sign we do sell. I did put the link. This is an 8-inch sign, and like I said, you can use any sign, and you can just match the colors. Like I said, if you want to do your country, your team, whatever. This like flower wreath is not so in your face with like all kinds of ribbons and stuff, but it still shows your kind of your pride. And it's not very girly, like, girly, like with all kinds of, florals and stuff on it. Okay, I think I can see the Mod Podge all on there. So by the time I'm finished my wreath, this should be dry. So I'm going to sprinkle Mod Podge, or get a wax paper or something to put underneath so you don't waste any of your diamond dust. And you're going to liberally shake your diamond dust or your glitter, whatever you want, onto where you Mod Podged. Okay, and then give it a little tap. Yeah, so you could, if you just brush it on carefully with a paintbrush, you can direct where you want your glitter. Okay, and now I'm just going to tap off any excess. And there we go. Now, let's see, a little bit, I don't want any glitter on my words here, just on the white. So I'm just taking the end of my brush, and wherever it's stuck, where I don't want it to stick, you just remove it. Okay, and there we go. Now the white part of my sign, I hope you guys can see that. It's really, really pretty. Once I take a picture at the end, you'll be able to see it. So I'm going to put this to the side, and now we just amped up. Hold on, I want to put a little bit more in the A here, where the white is. I just amped up my sign game here. And like I said, be careful with this stuff if you're going to use the diamond dust. It is shards of glass. So don't be scraping it like this, because you'll get it stuck in your hand. Just grab a ruler or something and put it into the garbage. And then don't forget to wash your brush if you want to reuse it again, because if it hardens with the Mod Podge, it's garbage. All right, so I'm just going to grab my cardboard here. I got to get some more of my diamond dust. I've had this for probably a couple years. So you don't, when you do stuff with it, you don't use a ton of it. And just make sure you can shake it off and put it back into the container. All right, so we're going to put our sign to the side. Hello, everybody. We're going to put our really pretty sign to the side. All right, and we're going to make a flower using red and white, because I am doing Canada. And I'm going to do the same petal. I'm going to do the petal I did for the American one the other day. And I was supposed to come on live, and, you know, my life is chaos. So half the time when I want to do something, I can't do it because I'm doing something else. Anyways, it is the pinwheel petal. Okay, so you don't have to wood burn. You don't have to worry about seeing the edges. It's a great all-around petal if you need to do something quick, okay? I am using horizontal wide stripe mesh. I had a roll open, so I'm using red. I only had a quarter of a roll of the white left, so I was trying, or half a roll, sorry. So I'm using the white, but I had a quarter of a roll of white fabric mesh kicking around too. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do on row 4, I'm going to do some lolli petals with some fabric mesh on row 4 over top of the red. So, and then my sign is going to sit right here. So you don't have to do row 5. So we're only doing row 2, 3, and 4. Our sign is 8 inches, so it's going to go right in the center. And I'm going to end up putting a few, like some 8 lolli petals going around the center. And it'll really pop the sign out. And then with that sun hitting with the glitter, it's going to be really pretty. So you can use leftover mesh if you want. If you have some leftover poly burlap from like the small wreath we did the other day for the red, white, and blue, you can use that. It's just a great way to use some leftover stuff, okay? So for this petal, I'm cutting. I'm doing row 2, I'm doing red. So there's 16, okay? Row 3, I'm doing the normal holes. I'm just doing 8 white. Row 4, I'm doing 8 red. Then I'm going to come back over those 8 red, and I'm going to do 8 of the white lolli petals. And then we're just going to put our sign on. I think it's going to look pretty cute, okay? So you're going to cut your mesh at 10 inches. So I have a couple more to make. I'm just cutting it with my rotary cutter. If you're looking for a certain color of your horizontal wide stripe, I should have it on the website no later than Wednesday. Okay, so it should be here in Canada by Monday or Tuesday, and I'll have it listed by Wednesday. So if there's a certain color you've been waiting for, it will be stocked. Okay, I have yellow coming, all the popular colors. Okay, the petal. Okay, it's just like I said, the pinwheel petal. Curl up. Okay, this is at 10. Now the roll is actually 10.5, but this petal is very forgiving, so I only cut it at 10. That way you get a few more inches on your mesh roll that you can use, okay? Okay, curl up, diamond shape, top corner, we're gonna bring it to the bottom corner. Now this is not as soft as poly burlap, but it gives you a really, really nice petal, and it's half the price. Okay, so I have pumped horizontal wide stripe since it first debuted because it makes great flowers with less inexpensive than poly burlap. Okay, so there's our triangle. I'm going to take my right, and that edge at the top here is going to go straight down the middle. So if I stretch the middle here and put my finger, I'm going to bring it right straight down. So that line is going straight down the middle. All right. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it over. And you'll see that your factory edges line up there. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So that top is going to go straight down the middle. Okay. Now I just adjust it a little bit because we want this corner and this corner to be around the same distance from the top. So you'll see this one is a little bit longer, and that's only because you won't be able to tell once we do the petal, but I just want these two corners to be around the same distance. Okay, so that is your petal, and it's the same on both sides. So when you go to place your petal into your board, it really won't matter what side you use. They're both exactly the same size. Okay, and so that's the top. I'm going to flip it to the left, and about 2 inches, I'm going to pinch the top, pinch the bottom in, and there is your petal. Okay, so you can stick this right in. So if you pinch it at about 2 inches, like I just did, okay, put the tail in and do your zip tie right before your fingers. And that way each petal will be the same distance in your board. So I did, like I said, I did preload with my 6-inch 18-pound zip ties, the normal holes on row 2, normal holes on row 3, and normal holes on row 4. So I'm going to do red, white, red, and then like I said, I'm going to come back and do white with lolly petals. All right, now I like to train to make it nice and pointy. To keep it pointy, I just put a little clip, one of these little fabric clips on the end. And then when you take it off in a few hours, it stays nice and pointy. Okay. You can also make this petal a little bit rounded if you want. And I'll explain that. So I'm going to cut again a 10-inch piece. Okay, curl up, diamond shape, factory edge, top left, bottom right, top corner to the bottom corner. Now, what I'm showing you is so that this tip is not so pointy. You're going to do the exact same thing, stretch it out, run that top edge down the center, and then these factory edges here will line up. We're going to flip it over, and now, because to make it pointy, I kind of overlap the 2 edges here. If you want it more rounded, what you can do is just take your top corner here, and you're going to run it just before, because you can see through the mesh here. I can see where this part is. You're just going to take this and run it just before. You're not going to overlap it, so it's nice and that it's pointy here. You're going to kind of just run it alongside like that. And then again, 2 inches up, pinch top, pinch the bottom. And you can see it's a little bit more rounded and poofy. So you can see that the 2 folds, they kind of stick up. It just literally gives it a different look, as you can see right here. One's a little bit rounded and one's pointy. So it all depends on how you want it and what look you're going for. Okay, I'm going to keep it pointy. So this edge is kind of overlapping. So you'll see right here, when I fold that over, this top right here is going right along and matched this edge. And then it goes straight down. This is how I get the pointy pinwheel petal. Okay, and then I flip it to the left because I'm right-handed. I'm going to pinch at 2 and 2. And there we go. And you're going to slide it into the zip tie again and do the zip tie right below where I did my petal. Or my finger, sorry. And then again, if you want to keep it pointy and keep it trained like that, just put a little clip on it. You can also put a little dab of glue if you want. The only thing is I get the glue strings and then sometimes you see the glue. If you have little clips or if you don't even care if it's pointy or not, don't worry about it. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to be doing 16 red. And like I said, both sides are exactly the same, so just grab your petal. Now my elastic band, I pre-made my petals. My elastic band is at the 2 inches. So I'm just going to zip tie it right on top of the band. Okay, really easy. We got red, 16 red. Now if you wanted to do red, white, and blue for the US, you could do blue, then white, and then red, or however you want to do it. Canada only has the red and white, so kind of boring. Hello, everybody. So you can see here how if you pre-make them, you can get your flower done really quick. So I made these the other day while I was watching TV. So I just cut all my mesh, brought it upstairs, brought my rubber bands, and had my little lap cutting mat and made a bunch of petals and put them in a bucket. And I kind of clothespined the tips. So I put like 4 petals per clothespin and I just clothespin the tips. That way they would stay pointy for when I went to go use them. Watching from Tennessee, well, hello. So this is a good versatile petal that goes really fast. You don't have to worry about wood burning or the edges or what side you're going to use. Both sides are exactly the same. And yes, you can do the same thing on the small board. But I should have brought the small, actually I'll call up to Dave, bring the small wreath down that I did the other day so we can compare the size. Because we get that question all the time, like what's the size of a flower if you use the small board versus the large board? This will be a good way to figure that out because it's the exact same petal. So excuse me for 1 second. I am going to call my husband to bring it down. All right, so that's 16 red I've used. lay that small patriotic flower on the back of the front door down, please? Thank you. Bye. Okay, so we're just now going to cut our zip ties off. And then the next row, we're going to do white. Exact same petal. If you guys wouldn't mind SHAR this tutorial to your Facebook page, that would be awesome. Yeah, I just want to show them the size difference from the large to the small. There we go. Okay, so the blue, so you can see there's a, hold on, there is a bit of a size difference from the small to the large. I like my flowers really big, and that is why I always use the large board. Okay, let's see if I flip it over. You can see, really see the difference. So that is the only difference, is the size. Okay, so now I'm using white on row 3. Same petal. Okay, we're gonna just stick it in. You could trim your tails off if you on the petal if you want. I'm gonna go over top of them. So there's 8 white. Oh yeah, you can do it on the small board, just like I did the red, white, and blue one the other day. The replay for that is on our YouTube channel. So, and you can use the same horizontal wide stripe mesh. Like I said, it's a little less expensive, very durable. It's all plastic. So we got 8 white. So we use 16 red on row 2, 8 white on row 3. Then I'm going to do 8 red on row 4. And then I'm going to, like I said, go over top just for fun. Give it a little bit of a different look with, I had some white fabric mesh I can use up. And we'll do a lolly petal. Okay, there we go so far. See, it's a really great versatile petal. Almost looks like a Dean Michael without all the struggle, right? Okay, now let's go in with red again. So we've got 8 red. This is row 4. So the boards are great because, you know, you're not struggling with plastic canvas and felt and all kinds of craziness, because the board stays nice and neat on the back. So I believe the small one was 22 inches and the large here is 26 inches. So you got 4-inch difference. And then I'm going to come, once we're done these red ones, I'm going to come back over and we're going to put a little bit of white in here too, which just to break up some of the red, because the outside of the sign is red. So I just wanted to add a little bit of white. Or you could have did white, 16 white, then red, then white again, if you didn't want to come back and use more mesh. So this is the one I just put a clothespin on the tip and it's already being trained there. No, I didn't lay anything on them. In fact, literally just threw them in the bucket and clipped the tips. It's because this mesh is like really, really good. Like it's so versatile. So you need 16 red and then 8 red. Now, if you're using, you could be using a flower center, or I believe on our website I have wood maple leaves that you can paint red and put some glitter on it and everything, and use that as a center if you're doing a Canada wreath. If you're using the maple leaf, you would want to do row 5 as well, okay? Because you don't want to see the zip ties. So I can be done and just put that center on, and there we go. That's easy peasy. But I think I'm going to be a little extra, and I'm going to put some white lolly petals right on top of the red ones here. Just looking for my zip ties. So I'm going to go right over top of this zip tie and put another one. So you just go down and back up. Close it until you hear a zip. And we're going to do 8. I probably had enough to continue on because this is how much I had left. I was just using up what I had open already. But then I saw the quarter roll of white fabric mesh. I thought, oh, that might look good too. Do it an easier way. There's many ways to load the board. All right. Flip it over, it'll just do them up. But you want to make sure the flat part of your zip tie is facing the tail of your zip tie, so it does up correctly and you'll hear that zipping sound. Okay, so there's my 8. I'm using this O Canada sign that I glittered up the white part of it. Okay, so let's put some white in there. I did a few. I'll show you guys how I made them. I just kind of want to see what it'll look like. So this is a lolly petal. I didn't want to cover the red. I think that'll look just fine. Let's see if I can put the sign on. Oh, that'll look cute. See, it breaks up some of that red. All right, and I'll show you how I made these. So I took a 10-inch piece of mesh. Where did my fabric mesh go? Okay, you don't have to wood burn or anything. We're just going to cut a 10-inch piece. You can use scissors, your rotary cutter, whatever you use. Okay, we're going to do a lolly petal. So we're going to have curl up, turn it into a diamond shape, top corner to the bottom corner. Just kind of, now we're almost into the center, so it's a little, the mesh is a little curly. Okay, now I'm going to flip it to the left where the long edge is going to be to my left. And I'm going to pinch it, kind of pull it, and pinch it up the center. Okay, and this is a lolly petal. Then I'm going to bring the side, so about 4 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Bring the side in, and now it does look like a rose petal, but then now we're going to take this corner, grab the corner, bring it to, we're going to slide it to the center, and you get this like rounded bubble petal. Now if you've grabbed the here and bring it this way, you're almost going to make a scoop. If you don't want to make a scoop, you have to grab this and kind of turn it as you're bringing it to the center, and you can see that this edge is now facing this way. So it makes it more rounded, like a kind of like a balloon, like that. So there's a few different ways to make the lolly petal. Whatever way you make it, just make them all the same. Okay, it doesn't really matter how you make it as long as they're all the same. Now I had mine more of like a kind of a scoop. So I'm going to keep it like that. Okay, then you can take, I'm going to take little zip tie. Or you can take, you know, a rubber band, but if you put a zip tie around it, it acts like a stopper. And I do have little 4-inch zip ties on the way too from overseas. I just, with what's going on right now, I have no idea where they are. Okay, and about 4 inches up, I'm going to put a little zip tie. And then you can mold it. So you mold them so that they're all the same. You just put it on top to make sure that they're like the same size. It is. Pull it tight, and then I'm going to cut this extra off. And then we're going to put it right into the zip tie we loaded and do it up just past that zip tie. So that's this little stopper. There we go. And they'll like sit against each other like that. So you can do it however you want, whatever petal you want. Just try and keep them the same. Hello, Margaret. Hello, hello. I think it looks cute. So I had Ellie all day. I don't know if you guys noticed that last night I had a video premiering and I was so tired. I had Ellie all day yesterday because Laurie moved back from university. So I had Ellie for, I don't know, 10, 11 hours. So I was exhausted. Never do anything really important when you're really exhausted. I uploaded the wrong video. I had it premiering and everything, and I didn't even realize it till this morning. It's like, oh, Lord. Yes, this is the lolly petal. And this is just fabric mesh. I had a little roll left over from something, and I don't want to open any more white horizontal wide stripes, so I'm just using this up. Okay, so we did 8. Do this one. All right. one more. I have to make one more of these, so I'll do it one more time. Hi, Elva. Okay, curl up, top corner to the bottom corner. Again, this is really right to the inner, so it's a little bit curly, the mesh, but that's okay. And you don't need a perfect square. We're going to kind of stretch out the middle, pinch it, okay, right up the center, and about 4 inches from the bottom. I'm going to bring that side in, that side in, so we got almost like the rose petal. Grab the top corner, bring it into the center, the other corner, bring it into the center, and we did about do some adjusting because this is so curly. And I did about 4 inches. I'm going to put a little zip tie. It's got glue on it. I have a plethora of different size 4-inch zip ties in this little container. That one didn't even zip. And then we're going to put our sign on. These are the same. Yep. Okay, now we're just going to put our sign on. Make sure these are all against each other, just like that. And then I'm going to take my sign. Now I have a cable mount on the back, and I used some automotive, a little piece of that automotive tape. It's fabulous. This will not come off, I promise. So the automotive tape works amazing for the metal signs. It really does. And we're going to find the 2 holes right in the center, and I'm going right down the center. So your sign will always be centered. Just make sure you put you tape on or glue on your cable mount centered onto your 8-inch sign. Where's my top? It doesn't really matter where the top is. There we go. It's cute, eh? As I'm making a Canadian wreath. Okay, pull from the back. Don't pull too hard because you don't want to warp it. Just pull till you feel resistance on the back, and then twist your pipe cleaner. Okay, we're going to cut the extra off, and then you're going to go back down. Now, when you have a nice clean back, you can put a sticker on your business or your business card. You can tape it to the back. And while you have it flipped over, we're going to put another zip tie on for a hanger. So you can feel the divoted holes there. Down and push the tail back up, and we're just going to make a little hanger. Oh, thanks, Susan. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time. All right, we are done. Oh, Canada. Now you can, once you're really happy with everything, you can add a little bit of hot glue to keep your sign not moved or anything. Put a little, you know, stick it under and give it a little glob. 1, 2, 3, 4. But our website, this is the 8-inch. We do have a 12-inch too, so the 12-inch you wouldn't have to put these lolly petals on. You would only use row 2, 3, and 4, and then the 12-inch will cover everything. But we also have in-house, a lot of in-house Canada signs as well. Look at this one, Happy Canada Day with the beaver. So, very, very easy. Like I said, I used some leftover mesh. And that is our Canada, one of them, flower. Now I'm gonna just give it a little tug here, make sure all of my petals are in place and pointed. And that's it. That's all I had to show you guys. I know I was supposed to do it the other night, but you know, something came up as usual. But I didn't forget. And there we go. Happy Election Day, my Canadian peeps. Yep. That's why I thought today would be perfect. All right, thanks for, oh, and I'll show you again the sizing difference. Large board, small board. Okay, so there is, make sure that's centered. There is a bit of a size difference. So it's whatever size flower you need. I personally like big or go home. Right? Great. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. And you'll be able to find the replay on our YouTube channel. When you're over there, give us a subscribe. It just helps with the algorithms over there. We work really, really, really hard on our YouTube channel. All of Team Unique and myself. So when you guys, you know, just give us a subscribe or even comment on a video, it really, really helps on YouTube with the algorithms. Okay. Tonight at 8 o'clock, Mary Ann is live. So set your notifications and we'll see you soon. Happy Election Day tomorrow.